William Harper had always known the price of secrets. Born into the kind of old New England money that whispered through generations like fog off the Atlantic, he grew up in the shadow of Harper House, a salt-weathered Victorian on the cliffs of Cape Cod, where his mother, Eleanor, ruled like a queen in exile. She was a woman forged in the fires of 1950s propriety, widowed young when Dad's sailboat capsized in a squall off Provincetown. "Family is legacy," she'd say, her voice crisp as the starched linens she insisted on. "And legacy demands sacrifice." William learned early that sacrifice meant perfection. Straight A's from Phillips Exeter, a Harvard law degree he barely wanted, and a closet so deep it swallowed his soul whole. He met Alex Rivera on a rainy October night in 2015 at a dive bar in Cambridge called the Black Rose. William was 25, fresh out of law school, nursing a whiskey sour and the fresh sting of his latest failed attempt at coming out to Eleanor. "You're my golden boy," she'd told him over Easter brunch, her pearls clicking like judgment as she dismissed his hesitant words about a friend with a wave. "Don't tarnish that." So he buried it deeper, the ache of unspoken truths, and drowned it in cheap bourbon. Alex was everything William wasn't. Unapologetically alive, with sun-kissed skin from summers surfing in San Diego, a laugh that cut through the bar's haze like sunlight, and eyes the color of aged tequila, warm, golden, pulling you in before you knew you'd fallen. He was a grad student at MIT, studying urban planning, sketching blueprints for affordable housing in the South End while moonlighting as a barista. Their eyes met over a spilled pint of IPA, and Alex's grin was instant forgiveness. "You look like you could use a reset," he said, sliding onto the stool beside William, his flannel shirt rolled to the elbows, revealing forearms dusted with fine dark hair. By closing time, they were tangled in the alley behind the bar, rain slicking their skin, Alex's mouth hot and insistent against William's, tasting of hops and possibility. That night marked the beginning and the curse. They fell hard, the way only late-20s heartbreak allows. Stolen weekends in Alex's cramped Somerville apartment, where the bed sagged under their weight and the walls echoed with whispered confessions. Alex talked about his abuelita in Tijuana, who sent care packages of tamales and rosaries, and how he'd come out at 16, fists clenched against his father's belt. William listened, heart swelling, but shared only fragments. Eleanor's expectations, the invisible chains of Harper legacy. "I love you," Alex murmured one dawn, tracing the curve of William's spine as they lay spent and tangled in sheets. No matter what, William believed him, but the what loomed like a storm cloud, the will. Eleanor had made it clear years ago, in a lawyer's office reeking of cigar smoke. "If you bring shame to this family," she'd said, her blue eyes ice, "you bring nothing." Shame, to her, was anything that deviated from the script. Wife, 2.4 kids, a picket fence in the suburbs. So William hid. At first, it was small, introducing Alex as my roommate from law school at holiday parties, dodging Eleanor's probing questions with jokes about bachelor life. But as months bled into years, the lies calcified. He built a double life. By day, the dutiful son, escorting Eleanor to galas at the Boston Symphony, charming her bridge club ladies with anecdotes about mergers and acquisitions at the firm. By night, he slipped away to Alex, their love a fevered rebellion in motel rooms off Route 6 or hidden coves where the dunes muffled their cries. Alex never pushed, not really. "I get it," he'd say, though his smile sometimes faltered, like a crack in fine china. "Family's everything. Just promise me we're endgame." 10 years. A decade of this delicate dance, where love and legacy pulled William like tides. Alex finished his PhD, landed a job redesigning public spaces in Dorchester, and proposed on a whim during a road trip to the Berkshires, down on one knee in a meadow gone wild with fireflies, a simple silver band glinting in his palm. William said yes, tears blurring the stars, but the ring stayed hidden in his sock drawer. "After," he promised, kissing Alex's knuckles. "After she's gone." Eleanor, now 78, her once vibrant frame frail from osteoporosis, clung to life like a barnacle to the hull. She doted on William, rewriting her will every birthday to ensure the estate, the house, the stocks, the charitable trusts funding Boston's elite orphanages, went to her true heir. Whispers from the family lawyer hinted at contingencies. Any scandalous associations could trigger clawbacks, leaving William with a pittance. The guilt gnawed at William like termites in the beams of Harper House. He'd wake at 3 a.m., Alex's arm heavy across his waist, and stare at the ceiling, replaying the what-ifs. What if he told her? What if he walked away from it all? But the house wasn't just bricks. It was Dad's ghost in the library bookshelves, Eleanor's laughter echoing from garden parties past. And Alex. God, Alex deserved more than a life in the shadows. So William justified it, just a little longer. One more year. Until the fall of 2025, when Eleanor's cough turned to rattles, and the hospice nurse called at midnight. She died on a Tuesday in October, leaves turning crimson outside her bedroom window, the sea a restless gray beyond. William was at her side, holding her paper-thin hand, murmuring apologies for sins unspoken. "My boy," she whispered, her breath a rattle. "You've made me so proud." He believed it. In that moment, the lie a bomb. The funeral was a spectacle. Black limos snaking up the drive, cousins from Connecticut in pearls and seersucker, eulogies praising Eleanor's unwavering moral compass. Alex attended as a colleague, standing at the back in a borrowed suit, his hand brushing William's in the receiving line, a ghost touch that seared. The reading was scheduled a week later, in the same Boston courtroom where William had once argued pro bono for eviction cases, back when he dreamed of justice over inheritance. He arrived early, knotting his tie in the rear view of his Audi, the ring from Alex burning a hole in his pocket like contraband. Eleanor's lawyer, Mr. Hargrove, a dour man with a comb-over and a penchant for single malt, greeted him with a handshake that lingered too long. "Brace yourself, son," he muttered, eyes darting to the empty benches. "No family drama today, just the final act." But when the gavel fell, and Hargrove produced those letters, the ones William had burned, or thought he had, the air sucked from the room. "Your mother suspected," Hargrove said, voice oily with faux sympathy, "and hired investigators. Discreet, of course. These were recovered from her safe." The stack hit the table, a faded photo of William and Alex kissing on Nauset Beach, 2017. A hotel receipt from the Seaside Inn, 2020. Emails from William's private account, forwarded by a hacker for hire posing as IT support. William's stomach plummeted. Betrayal, not from Eleanor, but from her paranoia, her final weapon. Across the gallery, Alex sat frozen, his face a mask of devastation. He'd come for support, slipping in quietly as always, but now his eyes, those golden eyes, held only accusation. William mouthed, "I'm sorry," but the words dissolved like smoke. The judge's ruling echoed, fraud in the inducement, the will voided, the estate contested by distant relatives who'd circled like vultures. Everything exposed, everything lost. As the courtroom emptied, William stumbled into the hallway, the fluorescent lights buzzing like hornets. Alex was waiting by the elevators, arms crossed, jaw set. 10 years, Will," he said, voice low and lacerated. 10 fucking years you let me believe we were building something real, while you played house with her ghost." William reached for him, but Alex recoiled, the silver ring, worn openly now on his right hand, catching the light like a taunt. "I loved you enough to wait," Alex continued, tears carving tracks down his cheeks, "but not enough to be your dirty secret anymore." The elevator doors slid shut between them, a guillotine on their decade. William sank to the marble floor, the weight of exposure crushing him. Not the money, but the man he'd bartered away piece by piece. Outside, Boston's autumn wind whipped through the streets, carrying the first flakes of snow, and William realized the real inheritance wasn't the house. It was this, the raw, bleeding truth, and he'd squandered it for bricks and bloodlines. The days blurred into a gray haze after the reading, Boston's skyline a jagged scar against November skies heavy with sleet. William holed up in his Back Bay condo, a sleek glass box overlooking the Charles River, bought with advances from the firm, staring at case files he couldn't focus on. The partners at Dewey and Hargrove, irony not lost, had suspended him pending an internal review. Whispers of ethical lapses slithered through the halls like bad cologne. But the money? That was the least of it. Cousins from Hyannisport had already lawyered up, filing claims on Harper House, arguing Eleanor's intent favored blood over deviance. The tabloids got wind by week's end. Heiress's secret, son's gay affair dooms dynasty, splashed across the Boston Herald, a grainy photo of William and Alex from that beach day pixelated but unmistakable. Alex vanished. No calls, no texts, just a single voicemail left at dawn the day after. "I need space to breathe, Will. Don't make this harder." William played it on loop, the rasp in Alex's voice a knife twist, until the words wore thin as an old cassette. He drove to Somerville that night, the condo dark and echoing without Alex's sketches pinned to the fridge or his half-empty coffee mug on the counter. The super let him in, pity in his eyes, and William rifled through drawers like a thief, finding only ghosts, a dog-eared copy of Audre Lorde's essays, marked up in Alex's looping script, a mixtape from their first road trip, Springsteen crooning about Thunder Roads. No note, no closure. Desperation clawed him awake at 4 a.m., and he found himself at the firm anyway, badge clipped like armor, drafting motions to counter the cousin's claims. Fight it, his paralegal, Mia, a sharp-witted Dominican woman who'd clocked his roommate, charade years ago, urged over lukewarm vending machine coffee. Eleanor's will was ironclad before. You know. William nodded, but the fight felt hollow. What was a mansion without the man who'd made stolen weekends feel like home? He texted Alex that afternoon. Please. Coffee. Just talk. The read receipt glowed blue, then nothing. Hours later, a reply. Not yet. Working on a project in Dorchester. Leave me be. Dorchester. Alex's passion project. Redesigning a derelict lot into community gardens and co-op housing for immigrant families. William had funded it anonymously through a shell LLC, Harper Grants, slipping checks under the table to watch Alex's eyes light up over blueprints spread across their kitchen table. Now it felt like blood money. He drove there uninvited 2 days later, parking crookedly outside the chain-link fence ringing the muddy site. Dumpsters overflowed with rebar and shattered concrete. But in the center, Alex knelt in the dirt, directing a crew of day laborers, mostly Latinos like his cousins back home, planting raised beds for tomatoes and cilantro. His flannel was mud-streaked, hair tied back with a bandana, and for a heartbeat, William saw the man he'd fallen for, fierce, hands-on, building worlds from ruins. Will, Alex said, straightening, wiping soil from his palms on his jeans. The crew paused, eyes flicking curious, but Alex waved them off with a Spanish command that rolled easy from his tongue. They drifted back to work, hammers resuming their rhythm. You shouldn't be here. I had to see you. William stepped closer, boots sinking into the churned earth, the scent of wet loam and diesel sharp in his nostrils. Alex, No. Alex's voice cracked like dry timber. You don't get to waltz in with your lawyer face and fix this. 10 years, man. I planned our wedding in my head 1,000 times. Simple. Beach at dawn. Abuelita's recipe for the cake. And every time, I told myself, he's worth the wait. But you? You chose her ghost over me. Over us. The words landed like punches, each one true. William's throat tightened, memories flooding. The time Alex surprised him with tickets to a Red Sox game, screaming themselves hoarse in the bleachers. Lazy Sundays in Provincetown, hands linked under the dunes, pretending the world was theirs. I was scared, William admitted, voice raw. She was all I had left of Dad, of normal. The will. It was her way of controlling me from the grave. But losing you? That's the real death sentence. Alex's laugh was bitter, wind-whipped. Scared? I came out to my family at 16. Well, Dad beat the shit out of me, called me Maricon, but Mom? She hugged me after, made pozole, and said, Mijo, love's the only inheritance worth a damn. You had a choice. Every dinner where you called me, buddy. Every time you flinched when I reached for your hand in public. You chose. A foreman called Alex over then, pointing to a sagging scaffold, and William watched him go, the distance between them a chasm wider than the Charles. He lingered until dusk, snow flurries dusting the site like ash, then drove to Harper House. The estate loomed empty now, estate sale vultures circling, furniture vans idling in the drive, Eleanor's Waterford crystal boxed for auction. He wandered the halls, ghosts in every corner. The library where Dad read him Moby Dick. The sunroom where Eleanor hosted teas, her laughter a melody now silenced. Upstairs, in her bedroom, he found the safe cracked open, Hargrove's doing. Inside, more letters, not just his, but Eleanor's own. Yellowed missives from a college beau, a woman named Clara, postmarked 1962. My darling, one read. Society chains us, but love is the key. William's breath hitched. She'd hidden too. Known the cage, built it anyway. He pocketed one, a talisman, and drove back to the city, resolve hardening like frost. The next morning, he met with Hargrove over breakfast at the Ritz, poached eggs untouched, coffee bitter as regret. Settle it, Williams said, sliding across a revised counteroffer. The house to the cousins, the trust split for charity, half to Alex's Dorchester project, half to LGBTQ youth shelters in Boston. No contest. I want out. Hargrove's comb-over quivered. Your mother is dead, William cut in, voice steel. And so's her America. Tell the vultures they win the bricks. I'm done paying for them. Freedom tasted like bile at first. Nights alone in the condo, the river's black mirror mocking his reflection. But on the 10th day, a knock. Alex, bundled in a peacoat against the nor'easter whipping Boylston Street, holding a thermos of café con leche and a dog-eared notebook. Heard about the settlement, he said, stepping inside without invitation, snow melting on the threshold. Dorchester's gonna bloom because of you. Finally, William's heart stuttered. Not because. For you. Always was. They talked then, really talked, curled on the leather couch, steam rising from mugs, the city howling outside. Alex's anger poured out. The loneliness of holidays spent solo, the ache of friends' weddings where he attended alone. William confessed the terror, the fear of becoming the family pariah, the what-if of Eleanor's rejection mirroring Dad's absence. I thought I was protecting us, he whispered, tracing Alex's knuckles, the ring a warm weight now. But I was just surviving. Alex's eyes softened, gold flecked with forgiveness. Survival's no life, Will. But maybe we start fresh? No more ghosts. Their kiss was tentative at first, a question, then deepening like roots seeking soil, salty with tears, hungry with years denied. Clothes shed in a trail to the bedroom, bodies rediscovering familiar maps, the freckle on Alex's collarbone, the scar on William's hip from a childhood fall. They moved slow, savoring, Alex's hands mapping William's skin like blueprints for a new build, gentle arches, urgent peaks. I love you. Alex breathed against his neck, voice breaking as they crested together, the world narrowing to sweat-slicked sheets and shared breath. After, tangled and spent, Alex murmured plans, a small ceremony in Provincetown, Abuelita flying in, no secrets this time. But dawn brought the call. Hargrove, frantic. The cousins, they found something. Eleanor's letters. To a woman. They're leveraging it, claiming hypocrisy, demanding full control, or they'll go public. Blackmail, dressed in legalese. William's stomach knotted. Exposure, round 2. Not just his love, but Eleanor's hidden heart. The legacy, rotten at the core. Alex stirred beside him, oblivious. William slipped from bed, staring at the river's ice-fringed flow. Fight or fold? The choice loomed, sharper than before, and for the first time, he knew some inheritances were meant to burn. The scandal erupted like a nor'easter by midday, headlines screaming from every screen in Boston. Harper heiress's lesbian lover. Shocking letters rock estate battle. The cousins, led by cousin Reginald, a paunchy realtor from Hyannis with a toupee like a drowned muskrat, had leaked Eleanor's correspondence to the Globe, spinning it as proof of mental duress, demanding the courts void any charitable diversions and award them the lot. Hargrove's office became a war room, phones shrilling, paralegals scrambling PDFs of redacted love letters. William arrived mid-chaos, Alex at his side, hand in hand, a public declaration that turned heads in the lobby. You brought him, Hargrove sputtered, gesturing at Alex like he'd tracked mud on the Persian rug. He's my fiancé, William said, voice even, squeezing Alex's fingers. And my counsel on this. What's the play? The play was ugly. Countersue for defamation, drag Eleanor's memory through the tabloid mud, expose the cousin's own skeletons, Reginald's offshore accounts, his sister's pill-popping stint at Betty Ford. War, Hargrove grunted, pounding a meaty fist on the desk. But William saw the cost. More headlines, more vultures picking at bones. Alex, sensing the storm, pulled him aside in the hallway, thumb brushing William's jaw. You don't have to fight for her anymore, Amor. Let it go. We build our own. But letting go meant surrender. The house, the trusts, the sliver of security William had clung to like a life raft. That night, over takeout pho in the condo, Alex's comfort food, steam curling like incense, doubt crept in. What if they win everything? William murmured, chopsticks hovering. Dorchester stalls without the funding. And us, starting from zero in this economy? I'm 35, Alex. No nest egg, no network that doesn't whisper disgraced. Alex set his bowl down, eyes narrowing, not in anger, but that fierce protectiveness William loved, the kind that had faced down homophobes in Southie bars. Zero? We've got each other, well. That's more than zero. Remember 18? When I lost my job in the shutdown, you drove 12 hours to San Diego, showed up with that stupid guitar, and sang me Hallelujah off-key till I laughed. We survived on ramen and blowjobs. This is just ramen with better spices. Laughter bubbled up, unbidden, easing the knot in William's chest. They made love again that night, urgent and affirming. Alex pinning him to the wall just inside the door, jeans shoved to ankles. William's legs wrapped tight as Alex thrust deep, their gasps mingling with the radiator's hiss. "You're mine," Alex growled, teeth grazing William's earlobe. "Fuck the money." Release came shattering, body slick, and in the afterglow, curled on the rug with a throw blanket, William traced the tattoo on Alex's ribs, a compass rose, inked after their Berkshire's proposal. True north, Alex had said then. Now it felt like a map out. Yet the war raged. Reginald's camp escalated, subpoenaing William's emails, dragging Alex in for depositions on influence over the decedent's son. The Globe ran a follow-up. Queer secrets of Cape Cod elite. Is nothing sacred? Protests erupted outside Harper House. LGBTQ activists waving signs. Love is legacy. Counter-protesters from some Westboro fringe sputtering Bible verses. William fielded calls from old Exeter classmates, pitying tones masking schadenfreude. Heard about your mom. Rough. Mia quit the firm in solidarity, texting screw the suits, call if you need a drink. Crisis peaked on a frigid Thursday, snow blanketing the common in drifts. William met Reginald at a neutral site, a Fenway Park skybox, empty now save for the ghosts of '04 comebacks. The cousin lounged in a leather recliner, nursing a Sam Adams, his laugh a wet bark. "Willie boy," he drawled, "always knew you were light in the loafers. But Aunt Ellie? With a chick? That's Pulitzer shit." He slid across a folder. Settlement terms. All or nothing. The estate theirs, William's name scrubbed from trusts, a gag order on the letters. Or, William asked, pulse thundering. Or we publish the lot. Your mom's sapphic sonnets, your beach romps. Family reunion special. Rage boiled, hot and clarifying. William stood, knocking over his untouched beer. Publish it. All of it. Eleanor's truth. Mine. Let the world see. You want bricks? Take him. But legacy? That's not yours to hoard. He stormed out into the blizzard, wind howling like furies, and drove straight to the Cape. Harper House stood defiant against the gale, shutters rattling, the widow's walk iced over. Inside, he lit a fire in the grand hearth, logs crackling, shadows dancing, and unpacked Eleanor's letters, spreading them on the Persian rug. Clara's words leaped. "My Eleanor, in this land of pilgrims and Puritans, you are my revolution." William wept then, for the woman who'd hidden her heart, passed the cage to him like an heirloom. He filmed it all on his phone, reading aloud, voice steadying, and uploaded to YouTube. The Harper Truth. Love beyond legacies. Views ticked up instantly, shares from activists, comments flooding, brave. Finally, this is America, baby, messy and real. Alex arrived at midnight, tires crunching gravel, bursting through the door snow-dusted and wild-eyed. "You crazy son of a bitch," he laughed, pulling William into a bear hug, their kiss tasting of salt and storm. "It's viral. CNN wants an interview." Dorchester's flooded with donations, queer orgs, even the Sox Foundation. But triumph soured at dawn. A call from Hargrove, Reginald, spooked by the backlash, boycotts on his realty listings, rainbow flags on his lawn overnight, had caved. Full settlement. House to a preservation trust, trust split. Half to community projects, half to a new foundation. Harper Rivera, for LGBTQ elders and youth, honoring Eleanor and Clara's unspoken love. "You won without a fight," Hargrove grumbled. "How?" "Truth," Williams said simply, Alex's hand warm in his. "It's the only weapon that doesn't rust." They stayed at the Cape that weekend, the house thawing under their touch. No vultures, just them. Mornings, coffee on the widow's walk, watching gulls wheel over whitecaps. Afternoons, clearing Eleanor's attic, unearthing more treasures, Clara's locket, Dad's nautical charts, and burning the rest, ashes swirling like confetti into the sea. Nights, love unhurried, exploratory. Alex's mouth charting William's thighs, fingers curling just so, drawing gasps that echoed off rafters. William returning the worship, slow drags of tongue until Alex arched, pleading, their union a symphony of give and take. On Sunday, as they locked up, keys to the trust in Alex's pocket, plans for a June wedding sketched on a napkin, William paused at the threshold. 10 years hidden, he said, voice thick. Worth it. Alex turned, golden eyes steady. Nah, but the 11 ahead? Those are ours. Yet as they drove south, radio humming indie folk about open roads, a shadow lingered. William's phone buzzed. An anonymous email, attachment heavy. You think it's over? Check this. Heart sinking, he opened it. A video, time-stamped last week. Him and Alex, in the condo's bedroom, captured through a window by drone. Blackmail, fresh and vile. The sender, Reginald's nephew. Family sticks together. The war, it seemed, had claimed one last casualty. The video arrived like a venomous snake in William's inbox, coiled and ready to strike. He pulled over on the Sagamore Bridge, Cape Cod span arching like a spine over churning waters, and played it muted, grainy footage of their lovemaking. Alex's moans silenced, but the intimacy raw, exposed. The email's text was terse. $500,000 wired by Friday, or it hits Pornhub, X, every dark corner. R.J., Reginald Jr., the nephew, a trust fund tech bro who dropped out of Stanford to disrupt crypto scams, now disrupting lives. William's hands shook on the wheel, nausea rising like bile. Not the money, though the trusts weren't liquid yet, but the violation, the theft of their sacred space. He didn't tell Alex, not then. They checked into a motel off Route 3. Neon sign flickering, vacancy. Room smelling of Lysol and old smoke, claiming exhaustion from the drive. Alex sensed it, of course. His intuition was a sixth sense, honed from years reading William's silences. Talk to me. He pressed. As they lay under scratchy quilts, the highways hum a lullaby. William deflected with kisses, trailing down Alex's chest, losing himself in the familiar salt of skin, the hitch of breath as he took Alex deep, slow, worshipful, until release shuddered through them both. But in the quiet after, spooned close, the lie festered. By morning, resolve hardened. William slipped out for coffee, dialing Mia instead. Need a fixer, he said, voice low in the diner's vinyl booth. Formica sticky under his elbows. Mia, now freelancing as a PI with a Rolodex of shady contacts, laughed sharp. Knew you'd call. Gimme 48 hours. But Will? Tell your man. Secrets are how we got here. She delivered. Reginald Jr.'s IP traced to a loft in the Seaport District, a Bitcoin wallet fat from rug pulls, and a history of revenge porn complaints hushed with NDAs. Kid's a predator, Mia texted, attaching warrants in waiting. But legal routes crawled. William needed fast. He confided in Alex over diner pancakes, syrup sticky, regret thicker, bracing for fallout. I thought I could handle it alone, he admitted, fork mangling a blueberry. Like always. Alex's face darkened, not with anger, but sorrow. We're a team now, remember? No more solos. He stood, tossing bills on the table. We're ending this. Today. They drove to the seaport, Boston's glass jungle rising like mirages. Innovation hubs and yacht clubs, where old money met new greed. RJ's loft was top-floor luxury, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the harbor, crypto rigs humming like beehives. William buzzed up, Alex at his shoulder, hearts pounding in sync. The door swung open to a man in his late 20s, lanky with a man bun and a vape cloud, eyes widening at the uninvited duo. The fuck? Security. Save it, William said, shoving past, Alex blocking the hall. The space was a man cave apocalypse, screens flickering tickers, a king bed unmade amid pizza boxes. William held up his phone, the email screenshot glaring. Delete it. All copies. Or Mia's package hits the DA, IRS, and your daddy's board seat. RJ blanched, vape clattering to the floor. Cousin Willie? Shit, this is family business. Aunt Ellie's will. Was bullshit. Alex cut in, voice thunder. Like you, preying on love you don't understand. Delete. Now. Panic flickered. RJ scrambled to a laptop, fingers flying, sweat beading on his brow. Files erased, cloud wipes confirmed. William watching like a hawk, Mia's tracer pinging green. But as the kid slumped, defiance sparked. You fags think you're heroes? Leaking Ellie's dyke shit? That's karma. Alex lunged, fist cocked, but William caught his arm. He's not worth it. To RJ. Karma's you, alone in this glass tomb, chasing pixels while the world moves on. We're done here. They left him sputtering, elevator descent a freefall of adrenaline crash. In the parking garage, Alex sagged against the Audi, exhaling shudders. God, Will. That close to decking him. William pulled him close, foreheads touching, breaths mingling in the dim. You didn't. That's why I love you, fiercer than fear. Their kiss ignited there, amid concrete pillars and exhaust fumes, desperate, claiming. Alex's hands fisting William's coat as tongues tangled, bodies pressing urgent. They broke apart gasping, laughing through tears. Home, Alex murmured. Real home. The condo waited, but home now meant more. The foundation launched that week, a modest affair at the ICA, champagne flutes clinking under Calder mobiles, donors mingling with activists. William spoke first, voice steady under the spotlights. Eleanor Harper hid her love, as I hid mine. But truth isn't a thief, it's a builder. Tonight, we honor Clara, Eleanor, and every hidden heart. Scholarships for out youth. Housing for elders who've fought too long alone. Alex followed, sketches projected behind. Dorchester Gardens blooming, safe spaces sketched in bold lines. Legacy isn't blood, he said, hand-finding Williams. It's what we plant for tomorrow. The room erupted, applause thundering, toasts raised. Reginald slunk in late, hat in hand, mumbling truce over hors d'oeuvres. Whispers said he'd sell his stake, fund a shelter in Clara's name to save face. Blackmail forgotten, exposure alchemized to allyship. Winter deepened, Boston's holidays a blaze of resilience. Tree lightings on Newbury Street. First snows blanketing the common where they skated, mittened hands linked, laughter echoing. William quit the firm for pro bono, evictions, adoptions, queer rights. While Alex's projects flourished, their rings exchanged in a dawn Provincetown ceremony. Abuelitas tamales, goals as witnesses, vows whispered on the beach where it all began. No more hiding, William promised, sand gritting between toes. Alex's kiss sealing its salt sweet. Spring came gentle, cherry blossoms dusting the esplanade. They moved to a brownstone in Jamaica Plain, porch swing creaking, garden Alex tended with tomatoes nodding hello. Evenings, grilling ribs on the back deck, Springsteen on the speakers, bodies entwining lazy under stars. One night, as fireflies danced, Alex traced William's temple, gray streaks silver now. 10 years lost, he said softly. But 30 more? We'll make them count. William smiled, heart full. Count on it. Eleanor's ghost lingered, not in chains, but lessons. Love's the only inheritance that multiplies, shared not hoarded. Harper House sold to a trust, open for retreats, queer weddings, elder gatherings, its cliffs echoing new laughter. William visited once, alone, scattering Clara's locket ashes to the sea. Forgive me, he whispered to the waves. The tide pulled them under, forgiving. In the end, exposure wasn't ruin, it was revelation. A life rebuilt, brick by honest brick, in the messy, magnificent heart of America.